All right, next part up looks like number, what do we got here? Number two. Takes a look, take a look, see at this. It is the base that the Arbor Press is all going to fit onto. So it looks like it's going to be one whole extrusion with a very unique shape and a lot of dimensions. And then we'll have one hole here, which is a separate sketch, and another hole here that's a separate sketch, and then just one chamfer that will do these two sides. So we got quite a bit of things we have to look at on this print, so let's get after it here. All right, so we're going to go to start a new part file. Get my my print up here. All right, start 2D sketch. Now, if you look at this, print, you're going to notice that this is kind of the top view that has the whole thing. Usually, we've been doing everything in the front view, but I think for this one, it's going to be our best bet to select this XZ plane. And when I do that, you can see the word top, it gets kind of goofy. So if you just click this button once over, that'll rotate it so you can read that word correctly and just make things a little easier. All right, I'm going to select a 2-point center rectangle. Start from the origin, spin this thing out. Looks like my first dimension, if I look at the print, is 3.5. I'm just going to make a rectangle. Tab 2.885. So that's this guy. So that's my outside of the part. Next, I'm going to work on that circular cutout on the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and put a circle in here that's centered here. It looks like it says on the print that the radius is 0.313, but that's a radius. So a diameter is the radius times 2. So in Inventor, I can type in a radius and I can do the times sign on the keypad. So that's what you're looking at there. So 0.313 times 2, and then just hit enter, and that'll equal that out to 0.626. I mean, you could do the math if you wanted to. Next, I'm going to go ahead and place the dimensions necessary to locate the part correctly. Well, I already have that one. I guess that's in the middle, but it says on the print it's supposed to be 1.438. Okay, and then from this to this side right here on the print says 0.5. And once I have that done, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and draw two lines that will actually, if I zoom in right here, you'll see it'll snap right on this little top quadrant of the circle. And then I'll make that line horizontal so it snaps like that. And I'll snap right on that line right there. Do the same thing on the bottom until it snaps in place. And that's good. So what I did was I kind of sketched out what that slot will be like. Of course, I don't need this middle stuff anymore. And if you guys remember from the day I talked about some modify constraints, this trim command is pretty sweet. So I'll click on this and I'll take that part of the circle out because I don't need that. And I also don't even need this part of that rectangle. So I can get rid of that. Okay, so back side of this is done. Let's go ahead and put a little rectangle in here for that front cutout. So we'll switch back to a 2-point rectangle, and we'll just kind of click that guy. And just off the top of my head, I'm not looking at those prints, so I'm just gonna click and just make a random rectangle, and then I'm gonna dimension it now later. So that's another option whenever I'm making a rectangle. It looks like this inside slot of this rectangle could be a couple different dimensions, so we're just going to go ahead and pick that top side of that dimension, 1.015. All right, looks like it has a location from this edge to this edge. On the blueprint says 0.938. Okay. That is about it for that. That should locate the rectangle, should tell it there, and then we just need to know how deep, how far in this rectangle is going to go right now. So basically, I'm going to take a look, see at this guy, and say, all right, well, if the overall is 3.5, this dimension is 2.5 over. So I'm just going to click dimension. I'm going to select this line and this line. And I'm going to type in 2.5. And then that's going to bring that distance from there to there in. So now I have that rectangle area all good to go. And again, I don't need this part anymore. So I'm going to hit, instead of hitting trim, I'm going to hit X on the keyboard, which activates that trim command. And then I'm going to trim that middle out. Maybe I'll trim that so it looks, give me some extra things. So I'm going to get rid of that stuff too. Okay, so we're good there. And now the only thing left to do is these little angle guys. So let's go ahead and click on line. And I'm not sure exactly where this needs to go, so I'm just going to kind of place it, you know, randomly, kind of like that a little bit. So to me, the dimension that it gives me is a dimension from this point of that line down to the bottom. And it says it is 2.19 if you look at the blueprint. So that moves that away. That's good. And then it says this, and I'm very particular. See, I'm not selecting this line or this line. I'm actually selecting the little point right there. Might be kind of hard to see, but then I'll hit this other line over here, and that appears to me to be 2.5 away as well. All right. So now you have the location of that little slot done. And honestly, you can go ahead and just hit this trim command again and get rid of this part and that part. And I could do all the dimensions again over here, but if you remember that mirror, did you remember that mirror technique I did? I'm going to create a line just from the center, and it just needs to be a horizontal line. And hit OK. So I right click and hit OK. Then I'm going to come over to mirror, and I'm going to select this line is what I want to mirror. The mirror line itself was the one I just made. And then I'm going to hit apply, and you can see it puts it down there. Done. Trim away the rest of this. And we are left with everything fully dimensioned on our first extrusion. So we can hit finish sketch, extrude. This part is how tall? 1 inch. So there you go. 1 inch is good. And accept. And so now we have this cool base, but we need to put 2 holes in it still. So if you remember, we need this hole, we need this hole. These are 2 separate sketches. This is just a normal hole with a certain depth. That's the symbol for depth, by the way. Little guy there. And then this one is a call out for a threaded hole. So again, 2 things I showed you earlier when we went over some inventor stuff. So let's do that. Let's do the regular one first. So we'll just click this face, hit the little new sketch button. Again, I'm going to rotate it just so I can look at it the same way I'm looking at the blueprint. So that's why I'm doing that. I go to point. We know it's lined up somewhere in the middle, so we'll place it there. We'll go with our dimension tool. And to me, it looks like this point from this edge is, what do we got? 1.062. Enter. Looks good. Finish sketch. Hole. See how it pulls that hole already out of there? Now this is a normal hole, but it is a diameter of 0.255. And you might have to do distance right here. I think it defaults to through all. So you want distance. And then, so 0.255. And the depth is 0.562. And then we can hit OK. And now we got that hole in there. Alright, and if you look at it, you can kind of see that hole, it's kind of hard to see from that angle, but anyway, that hole doesn't go all the way through. Alright, next we'll select this face, create a new sketch here. Again, we'll need to put a point in here. We're not exactly sure location-wise where that's supposed to be, but it's 0.5 from the top, so I'm going to have to guess that it comes from the center right here. So we're going to place that guy there, dimension, top to the point. That's 0.5. Oh yeah, so it's centered perfectly in between there because that was 1 inch thick. So that's good there. Finish sketch. Hole. Finds that hole, but this time we're going to have a tapped hole or a threaded hole. So I'll click this and it gives me some thread types. It says on the print that it's 3/8. So 3/8 as a decimal is 0.375. This automatically populates the 3/8 16 UNC, which is what it says on the print. So the only thing here is we just need to tell it how deep to go. And it says on the print, remember that depth symbol I was talking about? It says 0.75. And we make this match, make these two numbers match, so the threaded hole goes all the way down to the bottom. Sometimes we drill that a little larger, but in this case we're just going to keep them both the same. Hit OK, and now you can see you got that nice threaded hole, exactly how it needed to be. And I have two more things that I need to do here. I need to do my chamfer technique, where I'm going to click this edge, and that edge. That's a little too big. So we're going to change that to the normal size that it says on the print, which is 0.06. That looks better. We're also going to pick these while we're at it. And that's it. Hit accept. And now you have your chamfer around all your edges. What's left? Eye properties. Physical. And part number 2 is the base. What is that made out of? Aluminum 6061. So same stuff we've been using. Apply. This one's a little heavier, but it's still under a pound. Hit close, and you're ready to save that bad boy as part number 2. I believe that's what it was called. Look at my blueprints again. Yes, it is. Part number 2, base. Venom. Save. Nice job. I know that was a pretty long tutorial. But this is a pretty hard part, so if you can get this thing knocked out, you'll be doing real good. So, good job, you guys.